Here might be a good time to talk about the actual lighting. I mean, it does really look fantastic, I think. I mean, mention something about your DP and what you actually went for, because it does seem to have that classic visual elegance of a good slasher picture, doesn't it?
Well, the look of this film has been the biggest problem in the whole process. My DP, Will Barrett, he shot the cable commercials with me. He shot Coffee Donuts with me. He had never shot a feature film before. But I'm very loyal to my friends and the people that I work with. I always bring back the same crew. And I had never directed a movie before, so if they could trust me doing it, then why can't they trust him to shoot it? He's won 2 Emmys for commercials that he shot. He is like MacGyver on set. He had, if you could see the equipment that he actually had to work with, it's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. And every night I'd say, how much time do you need to light this scene, Will? He'd be like, you know, can I get like an hour and 20 minutes? I'm like, I'll give you 10. And he would pull it off, and he's just throwing lights up. And then we finished the film, and our dailies looked gorgeous. Everything was fine. And they made a print, and it looked so awful. And it's actually the same print that we showed here last year. And it's the one that we had to screen for distributors. Our post-production house had a bad scanner. They scanned our film wrong. It didn't look right. It was all kinds of technical problems. And they didn't want to fix it because they didn't want to have to pay to fix it. And it was this whole fight. But we had to screen this film looking so horribly for distributors. And a lot of them felt it was straight to video because of what it looked like. And then once we got our theatrical distribution through the Works here in the UK and through Anchor Bay at home, Will and Corey, one of the producers, and myself used our own money to pay and go and redo the entire film, all in post-production, and do it correctly. So the people who colored what you're seeing now are the same people who colored my other movies, Spiral and Superman, Superman Returns. They are absolutely amazing. They did it so quickly, they did it so cheaply, and it looks just amazing. We also, some people have said, you know, why is it so bright? It's at night. You know, if you ever really saw anything at night, you wouldn't see anything. There is no light in a swamp, but who wants to see that movie? So what we sort of did is we used the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, their lighting, as our inspiration, knowing that we didn't have the time or the money to get there. But we really studied what Daniel Pearl had done with that and the fact that the lighting was never motivated. There are lights, in Texas Chainsaw, they're running through the basement and there's lights coming up from like below them. Like, where's that light source coming from? It doesn't make sense, but who cares because it's gorgeous. So with this, we did purposely overlight it a little bit, especially with the gore, because I wanted people to see it. It was good, I didn't want to hide it. This was our toughest night of shooting though, because we had 10 pages of dialogue to get through and no time to do it. So I know Will hates the lighting in the scene, which is funny that this is where you brought up the lighting, but I think it looks great.
What do the actors think of it now they've seen it? I mean, are they really pleased?
Oh my
they were
God,
involved?
they love it so much, and they show up at every. I'm surprised nobody actually came for this right now. They pay with their own money to fly themselves wherever the movie's showing. Dion Richmond, especially Marcus, this was the very first thing that we ever shot for the film. Right. This is a parking lot right here, and this is a young woman. Riley Vanderbilt is who you saw on Bourbon Street is young Victor Crowley. That's a really weird story because we did a mock trailer and we wanted to get some medical photos of young Victor Crowley. And John Beekler said, you know, if you can get me a female, that would be better than a little boy because we have to put them under the alginate and sometimes they can tend to panic and it's really hard. And Riley was the hostess at a bar that I was the DJ at. And I knew that she was a makeup artist. That's a shout out to my grandmother, Gertrude. She's usually in every movie that I make, but she couldn't make it to the set for this one, so we called the store Gertrude's store. So Riley came in and they did the prosthetic makeup on her face, and she's walking around the shop with this horrific Elephant Man head on, but she's so hot, and she's got this like little tank top and shorts on, and the whole time I'm like, And 3 years later, we lived together, and she's my girlfriend. So some people love Victor Crowley. I love Victor Crowley. So I was saying before, Dion Richmond actually has been to basically every time this movie's ever been shown, he has shown up. All 5 nights in Tribeca, he goes to all the conventions. I think he's going to get Hatchet like tattooed on his face. He's so proud of the
Isn't he the only actor you actually wrote the character for as well?
Yes. Dion didn't have to audition for the film. I wrote Marcus with him in mind and just offered it to him right off the bat. This was incredibly difficult to shoot because this is in a parking lot, this is in the woods. Now, there's a reason why we just showed the pig mask like that, which you'll find out in the sequel. Is that still on? Oops.
No, but that fell out, so...
Go on without me.
Well, I can't because you're the one who's going to describe this, so just put it back in, we're fine.
Hello?
Yes,
all right.
Right. Pig mask.
The pig mask. We purposely left some questions in the first one about Victor Crowley, like, is he a ghost, is he not a ghost? Why is he deformed? Like, what's the real story here? And in the sequel, the idea was to show the same flashback and show all the missing pieces from it. And the kid in the pig mask, if I can spoil this for everybody now, was actually Robert Englund as a kid. With the composing, basically when I sat down with Andy Garfield, the composer, he said, you know, okay, what do you want this to sound like? And I said, okay, honestly, I'm like Jurassic Park. I'm like, I don't want to do the whole, like, you know, one piano or like just whiny strings like you always see in a slasher film. I want it to feel like this big, epic, fun throwback thing. And the music cue on the bus is going through New Orleans was a huge struggle, like, internally with all of us because it's so ridiculous. But I said to him, I'm like, I want it to feel like Splash Mountain at Disneyland, where it's all fun and games, and wow, we're in New Orleans, and isn't this fun? And then keep turning it and turning it.
Oh, here's you. You're coming up in a minute. The green tombstone is suddenly going to make an appearance.
Yeah, the producers all have tombstones in here. They're going to run by Corey Neal right here.
All right.
And Sarah Albert's a little later on. This cemetery, we only had 4 graves because it's all we could afford. And they're actually cardboard. And you'll see once the struggle starts to happen, they bump into it and the whole thing shakes. And we just had to keep positioning them and turning them and shooting from different angles to make it seem like there was actually a cemetery here. This is the first time that they ever saw him. This was their first night of shooting. Great stories on the behind the scenes about that hatchet throw that you have to see. We convinced Joel that he was going to throw the real hatchet at him, and Joel basically shit in his pants. This was a great moment. That's KY and Mountain Dew. And Kane did actually swallow it and regurgitate it back up. Originally, it was going to be like that Alien moment where Joel's face was going to be turned to the side and it was going to slowly come out and hit his cheek. But then while I had him there, I said, Joel, what if he pukes in your mouth? And Joel's just like, okay, fine, go. And we did it. Okay, here, watch the mausoleum behind him. You saw it shake a little bit there, but coming up here, there's a good big one. Boom! I'm like, please don't hit the cardboard mausoleum. This is another scene that got drastically shortened in America. Little does the MPAA know, if you ripped off somebody's arms, the blood wouldn't spray like that. But again, you can do it in Kill Bill, but you can't do it in Hatchet. This scene got cut right here, where he gets his head exploded. They thought that went too far. That's one of my favorite shots, because my name's in it. Actually, no, it's just the sound of his voice. To me, that was that whole end of Jurassic Park, when dinosaurs ruled the earth, banner falling down and the T-Rex is yelling type thing. This is real.
He was really... What did he take to throw up so much?
I made him do it twice. The first time he just drank about 8 bottles of water, and he got himself so nerved up, and he just came running around the bushes and he threw up. Then I wanted a close-up for an insert, and he was having trouble, so he's sticking his fingers down his throat. It wasn't working, so we got him a cup of cold clam chowder and orange juice. And lo and behold, he threw up again.
But why didn't you just fake it? I don't understand why you wanted him to do it.
When you fake throw up, like, you would have to do it from the side. Whenever you see somebody throw up in a movie, they blatantly have a mouthful of stuff and they go, blah, and they spit it out. And I hate that. And Joel hates it. And he was just like, I don't want to do that. So we had him really throw up. He threw up on the Steadicam operator. The script supervisor, in turn, turned and threw up. The makeup artist threw up. It was like Stand By Me on the set. And I'm in the middle of all this puke just going, brilliant, print it.